Greetings, friends, follower, and fellow 3D enthusiasts. Welcome to another edition of Do You Bamboo? We are Papa Wolf and Mama Wolf of Wolftrax Life Designs, and we have an important question for you. It might be a bit personal, maybe embarrassing, but it strikes everyone in the 3D community at some point, but it must be addressed. Do you suffer from build plate envy? Do you look longingly at those videos of 3D influencers with their seemingly giant build volumes that are endowed by the 3D manufacturers that have given them printers for free? Well, do not fret, because you are not alone. We are in the same boat. Yes, this is a giant benchy. I have been on a quest since the release of the H2D to find a reasonably flat-priced, larger build plate printer. Something that we can add to our print farm and increase our production. But as we here at Wolftrax Life are not sponsored by anyone, we're able to present things from our personal experience without exaggeration or innuendo most of the time. But we've been on this hunt. So as you've seen from other videos and some of our shorts, you've seen some additions to our print farm. So we've been on this quest to get larger print volumes without dropping a couple grand on an H2D or even more on the Prusa XL, which is like two big names in the game. But anyway, so we're going to look at 3 points specifically that every Bambu printer owner is familiar with when we're talking about these 3 printers that we bought. But these 3 aspects of the Bambu experience is number 1,
ease of setup.
Ease of setup. Number 2, slicing projects and sending print jobs along with the print quality. And number 3, most importantly, especially with our experiences of late, reliability. So let's dive in and take a look. So the very first one that we brought home was the Elegoo. Yes. So we found the Elegoo on Facebook Marketplace. Had very few hours. It was actually somebody who just bought it, decided to do one job with it, and then decided they wanted something else. Understandably, because they just wanted to print something big. They printed their something big, and then they were done. Hence, we got a good deal on it. After a test print, driving out, getting in my truck, because this thing is huge. So that was really kind of interesting, get it in the truck and then getting it home. So the N4 Max, it is a bed slinger. It is a tall bed slinger. It has a 430 by 430 or 420 by 420 build volume. Huge. If you were wondering what that looks like,
Smell for that.
This is the regular Bambu 256 millimeter by 256 millimeter.
I'll be your Vanna.
You can be my Vanna.
And
then this is the Elegoo.
Yeah.
Big difference. Big difference. You can fit a lot more on that, but it is a single color printer. And the reason we bought it was because I started doing helmets. We got some helmets. Now, you're not going to fit this on a Bambu P1S. Nope. And you're definitely not going to fit this one. This is a monster. Not many printers are going to be able to handle that one. So we've been printing helmets and doing good things. Now, the Elegoo, because it was already pre-assembled, I didn't have to assemble anything. But the Elegoo also has palm wheels. Yes. And so the Elegoo's had this kind of famed history of not being able to stay very level on the bed plate. And most of that is probably due to these palm wheels. The palm wheels are these hard plastic wheels that create this really nasty, lightweight dust that just kind of hangs in the air for hours and then settles onto your prints and makes everything nice and ugly.
It's dirty. It
is dirty. They're very dirty. So the answer to that, which also helps out with the bed leveling, is linear rails. So I found some videos on how to install linear rails, and the company, TBS Tron, which sells kits for the X, Y, and Z axis linear rails for the Elegoo Neptune 4 Max, which I'll call the N4 Max because it's just too much to say. But we had to order those from China, so it did take a little while to get here. But even though I didn't have to assemble the printer, I did have to take it apart 2 or 3 times to get these linear rails installed. Now, I am kind of a handy guy, but I do like to read instructions from cover to cover before I actually start anything. I do take it slow because tools, small parts, not a good mix. So
and I just leave you alone.
And yeah, because there could be language just not appropriate for children or women or even human beings that might be uttered during these episodes. But anyway, got the linear rails installed. Bed leveling then became a dream. Well, not really kind of a dream, because I still do have to take the little piece of paper and slide it underneath the little print head and raise the Z-axis up and down. But I don't have to do it as much, and I don't have to do like this huge bed leveling, bed meshing kind of thing, because it runs on Clipper, which lets you do a bed mesh and some automatic leveling, but you still have all this other crap you have to do. So that was another 3 or 4 hours of setup time just to get the Elegoo to where it's running consistently. Then moving on, decided we needed color, because the Elegoo is just a single color printer. So looking at all the options and some creative Amazon advertising and some good sales, we actually decided and researched. We did research beforehand, buying the Anycubic. Yes, the Anycubic. That glance has meaning. So we got the Anycubic Kobra 3 Max, another mouthful. So we'll just call it the K3 Max.
Yeah.
That didn't go well from the start, because we ordered it in the package with the Ace Pro as a combo from Amazon. Got the Ace Pro, the printer, well, it was delayed, then it was lost, then it was delayed, then it was lost, then it was like, who knows where it is. So I took a chance and went back to Amazon, and they had the N3 Max for sale without the combo. Cost me a little bit more, but it said, hey, we're going to have it here. We'll have it to you tomorrow, or 2 days, which is what the other one was supposed to be, here in 2 days, but this was like 2 weeks later. I ordered it. I got it in 2 days. So guess what? I had to cancel the other one, which was interesting, because they're like, hey, yeah, we'll refund your money once we get it back. And I'm like, I don't have it. I never received it. You guys don't know where it is. What do we got to do? So did call Amazon, actually spoke to a live person, a very, very wonderful person, surprisingly great interaction. She heard my story. She's like, oh, yeah. And then we got our refund. Yeah, so we got the Anycubic. Now, the Anycubic does require some assembly. Again, it's kind of like the Elegoo, which, in the basic assembly, you're just putting up the big uprights and posts and putting the print head on there and connecting the ACE system. So it's supposed to take, an hour or two. Still took me 3 or 4.
Just times 2.
Just yeah. But I take it slow. Again, once it was all set up, we figured out, oh, hey, the Elegoo or the Anycubic likes to have, as they say, you need to have the ACE to the side, a specific side, as you're facing at the left side. And it's like, that doesn't work. So I actually figured out you can put the ACE in front or behind. The PTFE tubes are long enough. And we were able to get it assembled and put on a shelf and start making some prints. And it just didn't get better from there. But we'll talk about that one of the other topics. Now, the third one to join our happy fleet of filament slingers is not really a filament slinger. It's a Core XY. Yes.
Not a slinger.
No, is a Core XY type. It's the Sovol SV08, heretofore referred to as the SV08. Again, another mouthful. Now, this one's kind of interesting, because like the Core XY, like the P1P or the P1S, the bed goes up and down. This one, the bed stays stationary. It doesn't move. And the print head is on a gantry, so it moves back and forth, side to side, and up and down.
Does all the work. Yeah,
your print stays stationary, which should be even better. But it requires a lot of assembly, because the SV08 is based off of the Voron. Yes. Well, actually,
oh, that was because.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, we got the 2 boxes. I'll tell you here why. The SV08, in addition to being a Core XY-ish like printer, also you can enclose. So we're looking, oh, hey, something we can do more than PLA. So we can do PETG or PETG and ABS in this enclosure. So we got the enclosure along with it.
That's why I had 2 boxes.
That's why there are 2 boxes. But lots of assembly. Not as much assembly as if you're to get a Voron 2.4 kit, which is basically you're buying everything and soldering and all this other kind of stuff. The folks at Sovol do a lot of the smaller parts and the critical electronic components assembly for you, and you're just putting on the gantry and the frame and things like that. It's supposed to take an hour. Again, small tools, take some time. So it probably took me a good 2 to 3 hours to get that assembled. Then I had to put the enclosure together, because it's all flat pack. And it has glass doors and a glass top. So that took another 2 or 3 hours. So we're talking, probably a good 5 hours, maybe 6. So now,
definitely was not a 15-minute setup. Pull it out of the box, plug it in, let's go.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, by the time we got our fourth P1S, it arrived. We took it out of the box, took the AMS out, took all the packaging out.
We were pros.
Yeah, had it all assembled, connected all the PTFE tubes, plugged it in, connected it to Bambu Studio, and off we went. And that wasn't even half an hour. Definitely not the same experience with these 3 printers. So now, let's get to the slicer and sending print jobs and what the print quality is like. So the Elegoo and the SV08 actually run Clipper as their firmware. So even though all 3 of these printers came with their own, well, the SV08 actually just came with Orca, but the Elegoo and the Anycubic came with their own version of Orca, if you will, which is, a fork of Bambu Studio, which is a fork of this and this fork of that, and there's all kinds of forking going on. But it's not very good. Neither of them are. But the thing about the Anycubic is you're kind of stuck with their slicer, and we'll get to that. But so back to the Elegoo and the SV08, because you're using Orca, is very familiar. If you're used to using Orca on your Bambu Studio and Bambu printers, it's very familiar. The downside is print profiles for the filaments. You don't get much. So you have to end up like cloning a generic print profile and finding out all the filament details and, heat and all this other kind of stuff and playing with it a lot to get quality filament prints. So putting all those filament print profiles together takes a lot of time. But the other thing is, since it's running Clipper, you get to control basically almost every aspect of your printer, things that you don't see with Bambu Studio, because Bambu Labs runs a proprietary firmware, just like the Anycubic. The Anycubic runs a proprietary firmware. So you're actually locked to the Anycubic slicer, which kind of looks similar. You don't have as much control. You don't have as many filament profiles that you have to create on your own. You do get to see the ace. You do get to turn on the dryer on the ace, and there are some niceties with it, but by comparison, Bambu Studio is a much better slicer. Orca is a much better slicer. But the Anycubic slicer next, I think is what it's called, gets the job done. The other thing about the Anycubic slicer next is it doesn't handle the .3 MF files very well. So if you're going and downloading print files instead of like STLs, the 3MF actually has the color profiles along with it. So when you want to do multicolor prints, it'll import that information. So it doesn't do the 3MFs very well. So then you have to actually go in and match your colors by hand, which can be a pain. But the print quality, when it was printing, we'll get to that in a little bit, was actually pretty good. So comparing all these, the print quality between the Bambu Lab Studio or Bambu Studio and the Bambu Labs printers and the Anycubic and the Elegoo and their slicers, the print quality is pretty much the same. Because it's really hard, because it's hard to really make improvements when you're dealing with the limitations of physics. Now we're getting to reliability.
We're going to save the special child for last.
We're going to save the special child for last. Because once we had everything dialed in with the Elegoo, with the N4 Max and the SV08, things were great. We haven't really had a whole lot of experience with the N4 at SV08 because we've only had it about a month. But so far, once it gets dialed in with the filament and the heat and the print settings, it's beautiful. We get some great prints off of it. Same thing with the Elegoo. We're doing a lot of helmets with the Elegoo. We actually did some really neat stuff that we're going to probably show in another video. And they're reliable. Yeah.
That's a key word.
That's a key word, reliability. So then we get to the Anycubic. Yes. The Anycubic. After the trials we went through getting the printer, first few prints were great. Then we started to do color printing. And they start out okay, but we weren't really printing anything big or large or having a full build plate like we were hoping to do. And we started doing larger prints in full color with multiples models on the build plate. And that's where our trials began. The models started sliding off the plate. You might be thinking, oh, hey, that's first layer bed adhesion, etc. First layer was going down beautiful and very consistent on that first layer. You could look at them and it's like, ooh, this is really good, because the bed leveling on the Anycubic was actually pretty good. But we would get things like this. Now, if you look, we were trying mouse ears to make it here to the bed.
That one?
Then we get things like this. And if you see that, that is a full brim all the way around everything. And it was still sliding off the bed, the print build plate. I even set up a webcam over so we could watch and see what was happening. Because I'm like, okay, is the filament, is the print head striking the models? No. You could watch. Actually, as the build plate is moving back and forth on the bed, the models are starting to slide further and further off the bed. And actually, some of them actually ended up under the bed. Some of them actually ended up under our shelf. Some of them ended up across the room.
It's a bed slinger.
It is a literal bed slinger. The end result was trying to get one of these. So out of a plate of 10, we'd get 2. If that. Sometimes 1. Sometimes none. So we're trying to figure out what is going on. So we were washing the plates. I've actually put like magic glue on the plate to try and make it adhere, etc., things like that. We're messing with the bed temperature. We're messing with filament temperatures. We were doing all different kinds of things, making sure all the filament and the different colors of the filament and different brands were all in the same heat settings, just to try and get a complete bed to print and to no avail. Now, during this time, there was a teeny tiny little accident where the print nozzle on the Anycubic got clogged. So I went to go take it out, and I noticed that there's actually a PTF tube in the print nozzle, and the pressure from the filament had actually pushed the PTF tube up out of the print nozzle and into the print head. So, needless to say, that resulted in...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't have it. Nope, actually the one...
Nope,
that one's actually printing right now. And
oh, that's right.
Yep.
You do have it printing.
And we'll explain why it's printing right now. But there's a nice etching of one of a guinea pig, actually, on the surface of this build plate. So thinking, okay, maybe I damaged the print head, maybe I damaged the nozzle, maybe, and I definitely damaged the build plate. I ordered all 3 and replacement nozzles. And while those were coming from China, I decided to keep on trying. So I cleaned up the old build plate, flipped it over, tried the other side. Now this time, though, I was getting better prints. I wasn't losing all of them. Actually, I was actually keeping a lot of them. Still losing some. But like, what is going on here? So like, is the bed not warm enough? Because, it looked just like the other side of the build plate, etc., things like that. In the meantime, the new build plate, which is this one, arrived. So I rushed to wash it, get it onto the printer, and lo and behold, everything slid off again.
Back to worst case scenario slides.
In this time, it wasn't even... They would get, this far.
Yeah, I was going to say they weren't.
And then slide right off.
Yeah.
Or they would get this far and slide right off. Flipped it over. Same thing. It was like, what in the world's going on? So again, could it be... Did all the things? Could it be the bed heater? So we ordered a FLIR to kind of take a look at, is this the bed heater? Because if it's the bed heater, I need to talk to Anycubic, get a replacement, blah, blah, blah. So I went back to the original build plate at the same time, like, okay, I need to test these things. So I flipped it over, used the backside again, set up, printing. Where'd they go? I don't know where they went. And this time, it all worked. Every model adhered. And this is without brims. This is without mouse ears. This is without really adjusting anything on the models. It was a different model, yes, but it had a lot less surface than this, and it all worked. So I took a look at the other side, which was damaged. I'm like, okay, why is it working on this side, not the other side? Then I went back to the new plate, and I noticed on the top, all around the corner, it was nice and shiny and ripply and had all that texture that you would expect from a PEI build plate. As you went towards the middle, it flattened out, and it was duller.
Yeah, it lost some of the...
It lost that sheen. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't sparkly. I flipped it over, and it was the same. I'm like, my goodness, what's going on here? So I went back to the original build plate, and I took a closer look at the top that was damaged and the bottom that wasn't. that actually was printing well. And lo and behold, the bottom looked like what you'd expect a PEI build plate to look like. Looked like one of our Bambu PEI build plates, just in black. Flip it over, and yes, it was shiny around the edges and smooth in the middle. Is this the problem? Could be. So we now have our flare. We have some things printing. We have some data on how the print bed is actually holding its heat. And so far, the print bed has been very consistent on the heat. So it's like, okay, so this is the build plate. So I need to get a hold of Anycubic and say, hey, look, your supplier for your build plates has got a bad batch. It's probably going on all over the place because I do see a lot of other people with videos about Anycubics, whether it's the S1 or the Kobras, saying that they can't get anything to stick. And this is probably the case. So we'll have more data here in a little bit once this other job finishes printing. We'll see how many we keep, how many we lose. And this one's actually a very complex job, but we'll see how that goes. So after listening to all of our trials, if you made it this far, thank you. But the big question is the lower cost worth the effort for the typical Bambu Labs printer user? You know, we're looking at the reliability, we're looking at, the capabilities. You're going to have to learn new slicers. You're going to have to learn how to make new print filament profiles. You're going to have to learn all the intricacies of clipper and mainsail and fluid.
And put it together.
And put it together. There's a big upfront investment on putting this together. So is it worth it for you? Well, these are the questions that pretty much only you can answer, but I can give you our perspective. Now, we were looking for increasing our production. So having more prints in the 24-hour day that we're given by God, and just want to make the most of it. So for us, if the Anycubic actually works out, it's worth it. It's a lot of hassle. Yes, there's a lot to learn that's new, but you actually increase your skills in the understanding of the intricacies of the 3D printing world. And actually, you can kind of understand where the 3D printing community came from and where it's going. Now, is it worth it to get an H2D? Not for us, because that's only a single printer, so we still have to wait for that to finish the print before we can start the next print. And we're still stuck with that. Even though it's a larger print volume, it's still only a single printer. Now we have 3 printers that can be printing all at the same time. Printing different things. So for us, the efficiencies of scale work in our favor. Maybe not yours, but maybe ours. If you want to play around, these are great machines to play around with. People are like, these are the perfect machine, printers for beginners. I'm like, no, the Bambu is the perfect printer for beginners because you get it out, you set it up, and you go. These are definitely not in that realm, but they are cheap. So as we are closing this up, just want to say, enjoy your printing. Print something fun, print something meaningful, print something that makes you smile. And as always, enjoy the adventure one layer at a time. This is Papa Wolf and Mama Wolf signing off. Until next time. So the one more thing, yes, if you were actually watching my short and wondering what was printing on the Anycubic at that time, it was this guy. This is an STL Flex Hammerhead Shark. Yes, it was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So, if you guessed Hammerhead Shark, you were right. Have fun.